I did everything right. At least, that's what they told me. Wake up early, go to school, get good grades, respect your elders, find a secure job, save a little, don't take risks. Be patient, your time will come. So I obeyed. I stayed quiet when I wanted to question things. I followed instructions even when they didn't make sense. I worked hard, really hard. And yet, years later, I looked at my life and asked myself a painful question. Why am I still broke? I remember the exact day it hit me. I was sitting in my small apartment, just staring at my phone, mentally calculating all my expenses for the month. Rent, food, transportation, student loans. My salary had already vanished, and the month had barely even started. There were no emergencies, no big splurges, no luxury spending. This was just life. And that was the moment I realized something truly terrifying. Hard work wasn't saving me. It wasn't even getting me ahead. It was just keeping me running in place. I had followed every single rule they taught me growing up. But nobody ever warned me that some of those rules were completely outdated. Nobody told me the game had changed. They told me, be loyal to your job. But they didn't tell me that companies are loyal to profit, not to people. Loyalty is a one-way street in the corporate world. And I was walking in the wrong direction. They told me, save your money. But they didn't explain that inflation would quietly eat away at its value every single year. My savings account was like a bucket with a slow leak I was putting water in. But it was draining out just as fast, maybe even faster. They told me, don't fail. And because of that, I became afraid to try anything new. I was scared to start a side project, scared to ask for a promotion, scared to invest in myself. That fear kept me trapped in a cycle of mediocrity. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't irresponsible. I definitely wasn't stupid. I was simply misinformed. I was playing a modern, high-stakes game with a rulebook from the 1980s. One day, I met someone who completely shattered my worldview. He was an older gentleman, an entrepreneur who had built his wealth from scratch. He said something to me that I will never forget. He said, if you only earn once a month, you will struggle every month. That one sentence haunted me for weeks, because it was so undeniably true. I had one single source of income, my paycheck. One fragile stream. And if it ever stopped, even for a brief moment, my entire life would collapse. I had built my financial house on a single pillar, and it was starting to crack under the pressure. That's when I started asking the questions nobody had ever encouraged me to ask before. Why don't schools teach us about money? Why are we taught how to work for an income, but not how to build it? Why is taking a calculated risk seen as reckless, but depending entirely on a single employer praised as responsible? And slowly, painfully, I began to unlearn. I had to unlearn the idea that just showing up and working hard was enough. I learned that hard work without smart direction is just a fast track to exhaustion. I had to unlearn the idea that obedience is always a virtue. I learned that obedience without critical thinking is dangerous. It makes you a pawn in someone else's game. I had to unlearn the idea that a secure job was the ultimate prize. I learned that security without personal growth is a silent trap. It's comfortable, but it's a cage. Most importantly, I learned this: following the old rules blindly is a surefire way to stay broke. The people who actually break out of this cycle, the ones who achieve financial freedom, don't necessarily work harder than everyone else. They just think differently. They learn high-value skills that the market pays for. They focus on creating value, not just logging hours. They build assets, things that make money for them while they sleep, instead of just building a resume to get another job. And they fail. They fail. They learn. They adjust. And they try again without shame, without guilt. They see failure not as an endpoint, but as a data point. Today, I don't blame my parents. I don't blame my teachers. They taught me what worked in their time, in their world. They gave me the best advice they had. But times change. Technology changes, the economy changes, and the rules of wealth creation change. And if you don't update your mental software, your effort will always be underpaid. your hard work will be discounted. If you're watching this right now and thinking, this feels like my story, this is me, then please know this, you're not behind. You're not broken, you're just waking up. And that moment of awareness, that uncomfortable feeling that something isn't right, that's not the end. That's where everything begins. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing to this channel. We talk about money, mindset, and the modern truths nobody teaches you in school. Because the goal isn't just to work hard, the goal is to work free. Thanks for watching.